in this next segment now, we're going to talk about different topics. Or each of us have something of burning interest that we need to talk about. And my topic is about from a moment to a movement. How do we take this thing and go from it being this thing? Let me clarify. So we all know the George Floyd situation. And ever since that happened, I think about 2 weeks ago, there have been pretty much non-stop protests. It
15
initially
days.
started off, all right. Initially started off with, some really angry protests, as you would imagine. I mean, kneel on a man's neck and for 9 minutes and kill him. So there was a lot of burning and looting and just people just angry. And then, that transition, even, to peaceful protests, just asking for things to change, asking for a change. And, we're used to seeing that happen in the city where the incident happened, in Minneapolis. We expect it to happen there. But then we see it throughout the entire nation. Houston, where George Floyd is from, to New York, to LA, all over, right? And, Detroit. And not only have we seen that go protests, so now here we are 2 weeks later, people are still marching and protesting. It has gone worldwide. You see them in Germany, in Korea, in England, in France, all over. Way beyond that, what we've seen, because it's not the first time such a thing has happened. And it's a question that, my wife asked me earlier, like, what is it that makes this time so different? Because this has happened many times before. And I think it's a combination of things. I think one of the main things is because it was, not only was it on camera, because people have been caught on camera before, but it was a slow, painful death. So the level of inhumane person you have to be to kneel on somebody's neck, just try and kneel down on your floor for 9 minutes and see how hard that is. Much less on somebody's neck while they're squirming, right? So it lit something under people. There are the reasons why it's happened, but we're going through a big moment right now. But obviously, nothing really matters until we can turn this into a movement. And so I heard something on TV yesterday where they said the Montgomery bus boycott, this civil rights era in the 60s. We read about it in our history books, and we think, they probably did it for a month and done. They did that boycott for 308 days. So over a year, they led this until change happened. So my question is about how do we take this from just being this moment to this movement? Because the moment right now, it's not that it's easy, but the protests and the marching and the fight, that's energetic. It's exciting. We're fighting for this. But what needs to happen, it's going to take systemic changes in policy, right? From city by city, in legislatures and police department. And these things take a long time. It's that aspect of things is boring, right? It's going to take, letter writing campaigns and email campaigns and showing up to town halls and, obviously voting, but, and making sure that, we outline the things that we want to happen. People talk about defunding the police, which is really to lose the word defund to reprioritize and repurpose what we ask the police to do. Take certain things off their plate. Have them only deal with violent crimes, that sort of thing. So all of these things, are a citizens review board to deal with oversight over police. The changes that are necessary, it's difficult to change an entire culture, but we can change policy. And that aspect of things is important. And so why will this time be any different? What are we going to do differently from this point forward? So the question, how do we take this moment and make it into a movement? Jump on.
So
I'm not surprised.
Initially we had each of us had like a topic or whatever, but just looking at the time, I really don't know if all of us going to get to go through the topics because
I'm gonna give my time. You better believe that.
The question we just asked is extremely loaded, right? It's an extremely loaded question.
Let's start firing.
It's not like a one response. Yeah, we need systemic changes, right? That's one. We also need, how do I rephrase this? We also need to be financially empowered, right? As a collective. We know that we're one of the largest spending demographic, even though we're one of the smaller earning demographics, right? Which a lot of times it doesn't compute. We know that the money doesn't stay in the community beyond a few hours, right? So we have to be conscious of that. We have to be conscious of where we spend, how we spend, all that stuff, which is one of the reasons why a lot of companies are positioning themselves, because they realize that that's taking place. As far as turning it into a movement, a lot of people don't understand that we're not protesting about George Floyd. He was just the catalyst. He's the spark. He's the one straw that broke the camel's back. You know, he's now probably the face of it, but similar to what happened back in the days with Rosa Parks, she wasn't the only person who didn't get up, but that was the last person who, you know, really set it ablaze. But if you really look into history, there's a lot of others, right? So the same thing here. George Floyd wasn't the only person killed, but he was the one that caused this generation to be like, you know what, enough is enough. You know, we're already dealing with a pandemic called COVID, and then now we have to deal with the other pandemic called racism. It's too much, you know. So putting everything together, one of the first things we have to do is let everybody outside understand that there is a list of things that we need. Whether you want to call it an agenda or requirements, whatever it is, there's a list of things that we need. Our forefathers, they asked for civil rights. They just asked you to be cordial with us. They just wanted you to respect us as a human being. We weren't telling you to honor your promise of 40 acres and a mule. We weren't telling you to give us reparations. We said we wanted civil rights. Just see me as a man and treat me like a man. Respect me like a man, the way you want to be respected. That's all they wanted. But that was too much. That became problematic. That became a pushback. The same wording that they used back then, they just changed it right now when they say Black Lives Matter. They didn't say Black lives are more important. They didn't say Black lives are the greatest. They didn't say, you know, Black lives should be salute. They said Black Lives Matter, which is probably one of the simplest words you could use. It matters. And that is a problem. That is an issue. That is the reason why the all lives and everybody start coming out with
Blue lives.
Exactly. It's just matter. Not that Black lives should be honored, just matter. Think about that. Matter. I matter. I have a family, I have kids, I have wife, I matter. And that's an issue. So when you look at it as far as why all the kickback, why is the kickback? You know, we realize that we have to address this as a collective. We have to put the agendas together and we have to systematically go at it. We have to, like you said, the town halls, we have to show up and we have to be like, hey, this is the list of things that we have. These are the things that you guys need to adhere to. If you can't, give us reasons why you can't. Mm-hmm. And put it public, you know, city halls, it's on the minutes of the meeting, it's something that we can access, it's public records as far as why Johnny didn't think that this is something that should be addressed or should be recognized by the city. And we have a record of Johnny. We know who Johnny is. So guess what? When Johnny comes up for re-election, Johnny is not aligned with what we think should happen. Johnny is out. And then when you go up to the next level of government and the school boards, why don't you teach Black history in its authenticness? Don't give us the don't give us the watered down version to make you feel good about what you want people to think happened. Tell us the real. Tell us exactly what happened in its authenticity, right? So we address those from the school board going up. And banking, why are we still experiencing redlining in 2020? Why are we still being held out? Because if you look at some other demographics, they can go in with way less qualifications than us and they can get crazy business loans but we check all the I's, we dot all the T's. You get what I'm saying. Cross all the T's, dot all the I's, and we meet everything as far as requirement, but we're still denied. Why is that? Give us your official response why that is. Okay, so you're telling me that since I don't qualify, anybody who is in the same position that I am with all these qualifications should just go ahead and pull their money out of the financial institution and go somewhere where we are respected and recognized and we are actually given the assistance that we should get. We're not asking you for handouts. We're not asking you for freebies. We're asking for equality. Equality in terms of the law, equality in terms of how your financial institutions are run, equality in terms of how the education system is structured, equality in terms of everything that you want. That's it, in terms of opportunity.
And so I think the main point, so we can list off an agenda of things, right? The important thing for each and every person to get to understand is this isn't going to come easy. These systems didn't develop overnight, and it's not going to change overnight. You're going to lose some battles in this war. You're going to look at the people regarding like gun control, right? I mean, they go into a elementary school and murder 20 4-year-olds, and that doesn't bring about the change because the systems that are in place to prevent those changes from happening have deep pockets and they have a financial interest, and so it's hard to change them. So when we run up against that brick wall where we put all our energy and we've been protesting for a year and we bring this set of policies and then it gets voted down. We just have to understand that, okay, all right, cool, it got voted down. Who voted yes, who voted no? And then, put our efforts behind removing all the no votes. Right, and so this is going to be a long campaign, a long effort. We just have to be in this for the long haul. That's what we all need to understand. It's not going to come easy. We just have to keep the fight. Win one, lose one, and just keep pushing forward.
Totally agree. Now, if you take the NRA, for example, go ahead.
So I'm gonna keep this short. 2 parts to what I have to say. Shout out to Dr. Nicole Walters, Chris's better half. And you said she asked you the question, why is this one different? This one is different simply because of no distractions. After 2 months of listening to the news about COVID and the spread of it and death rates, and people unable to go outside and go to clubs and just do other things. This was the focus. I mean, this was the shift. This was a shift in change right here. We saw that. Everybody was able to focus on that incident itself. Yes, it was on video, and we were able to see it in the whole entirety, the 8.5 minutes. Now, what is it going to take to change it to a movement? Accountability. Okay, that's what it's going to take. The people that actually were involved in this have to be held accountable, or else it's going to keep on happening over and over again. That's the problem. In all of these situations that we can name, okay, can anyone tell me how many of these officers have been held accountable? Have they gone to jail? Have they done any time? Or if they have, has it been substantial? No, it has not. Because if the roles were reversed and you take a black man and put it in that position, I guarantee life, 30, 40, 50 years will be thrown at him. Easily. So in order for that shift to be to basically take place, I mean, accountability, that's the only way. That's the only way.
There's a thing called, and that was on the list of questions I had for Desiree, but Blade took up my time. But there's a thing called qualified immunity, which by itself don't sound like it means much, but basically what it means is it's almost impossible to hold a police officer personally accountable for these incidents. either themselves or the department. So if we made that easier, so if when you won't be shielded by the department, and then you settle in some suit, and then the money that's going to come from the taxpayers to pay off some people. If you were personally held accountable, so there are a lot of, so that's on the list of things up when we put out our agenda of things up that we need to get done. That is one of the roadblocks that exists there, because yes, sometimes they go to trial, sometimes they don't, but when they do go to trial, one of the things that protects them is this qualified immunity, where they're more or less immune from prosecution, or you have a very high bar to cross in order to be able to prosecute them. So yes, that is one of...
That goes back to the legislation Blade was talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, so
you have 10 seconds. No, go on, man. Go on.
Yeah, so basically, I'm trying to figure out certain things, right? As far as who has done it right. And, we look at the LGBT, right? When I came to this country, it was heights of ostracized that their community was undergoing, right? But like you said, they created their agenda, they created their items, their things that they wanted, and they stayed the course. 20 plus years now I've been in this country, and you see the difference from they can't even bring up the word marriage to now they're not only getting married, but they're the ones, doing the ceremony. What I'm saying?
Getting divorced.
Exactly, but I'm trying to be politically correct, because a lot of the terminologies I'm not familiar with, but we have seen where they do it. You mentioned the NRA, right? We've seen all these mass shootings or whatever, and yet still their sales are through the roof, right? Even when they went into Connecticut, kill all those babies, we thought that this has to change. You went into a school and killed the babies, not even the grown-ups. These are the babies you went and killed. We have to do something. And, they sweep it under the rug and back to business as usual, right? Why? Because they have people in their organization who are in every place that matters. Every town hall meeting, there's somebody there. Every time there's something to be voted on, they're voting as a collective, right? Every time there's somebody that they want to support, they're supporting that person or that issue as a collective. Every time there's anything coming against them, they're responding as a collective, right? In both organizations. It's not no one, I want this, it's we. They speak as a collective. And I think that this is what, disenfranchised folks, African Americans, Black people, we have to address this as a collective moving forward, right? In everything. If we said, like right now, everybody say we're not going to Home Depot, we're going to Lowe's, and I've seen that taking on a lot of traction right now online on social media. That has to be a conscious decision by everybody. It can't be some and then you see others there, right?
Home Depot is actually closer.
So like what Chris just said, if you see him going to Home Depot, you're free to slash his tire, to prevent him from going against the collective.
Just saying, I'm agreeing with you. It's a conscious decision, and that conscious decision may not always be to your convenience.
Yeah,
right.
You have to go out to your.
It's 2 blocks. I just thought about it.
No. All right, go on.
2 blocks. It ain't even a mile.
No, it's further than that.
But that's a decision that we have to do. Like right now, I think one of the things that we have at our disposal right now, the fact that we're able to have a just reason like this, the fact that we're able to directly communicate with people who know us and some people who have been following us but has never really had that conversation with us or understand what our viewpoint is on certain things,
we have sense.
Is that we have taken a lot of sting from the media. Right? So what I mean by that is that they cannot control the narrative.
Yeah.
Like how they used to. They cannot whitewash it. They cannot just package it neat and cute and put it out there. We're able to see raw footage right now and determine for ourselves without it being edited.